What's up, creators? It's your boy, Mad Mike. And on today's episode, we're finally ready to lay down some high build primer onto the Ferrari KitCar project. So stay tuned, check it out.
If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Ha! Dare to be you. This world is just a canvas to our imagination. Turn a figment of your mind into creation.
It's finally time, guys. I know you've been waiting. We're about to lay down some high build primer onto the Ferrari Testarossa KitCar. If you guys are new to my channel, the car behind me that I'm working on is a 1985 Pontiac Fiero that I'm doing a Koenig Specials Testarossa Replica. It's wide body, it's badass, and it's almost ready for paint. So today we're gonna lay down some high build 2K primer. If you wanna know how to lay down some primer, stay tuned because I'm gonna show you guys a bunch of tips and tricks. And you might pick up something good, useful, so stay tuned. I'll give you guys a quick walk around of the car. Right now it's all sanded down, it's masked off, and it's ready for the primer. As you can see on the windows, I like to use wrapping paper. It's cheap, comes in big rolls, go to the dollar store and you can pick it up. So I got my door jambs all sanded down, ready for the inside of the door jambs to get some primer. We got the sunroof all masked off, windshield all masked off. I'll show you guys a really cool trick for the windshield. If you guys have molding going around the perimeter of the windshield and you don't want to have a weird tape line, what you do is you take some rope like that, and you shove it underneath your molding. If that'll zoom in there, there you go. And you pinch it in there and that'll lift up the lip of your molding just enough so you can get paint and primer behind there, and then when you pull at the rope, your molding will lay flat again. That's a little trick there. What else can I show you guys? This side here has had some pretty extensive body work done. There is a bunch of cracks in the lower rocker from when I shipped the car across Canada on the trailer. We got the inner door jambs, had a bunch of body work done here, so it's all molded in. Once we get the high build primer on there, I'll come around with some seam sealer and get all the cracks too. Repaint these all black, do some nice like floorboards. But yeah, we are essentially ready for some primer now. Here's a good angle from the front end. You can see I got the car up on jack stands, so it's nice and high up the ground, so I can get underneath the rockers, underneath the front bumper real good. It's nice and sturdy, it's not gonna fall over. And if you look around, I have a nice little makeshift spray booth going on here. Got some plastic drape around the entire shop. Got a little doorway over here that goes to the back benches where I can do some mixing and whatnot if I need to. And then I got my fan set up over here. Fresh air drawing in, going out the door there. If you come over here, we picked up a couple new toys. We got some new spray guns. This is my old gun that I've had for a long time. It's a 1.4 tip, so it's great for base coats and clear coats, and you can reduce primers and get to come out of this gun. I've done it. I've sprayed heavy, thick Rust-Oleum paints out of this gun, but you really got to thin her down. So I picked up two new guns, guys. This one here is a 1.8 tip. This one here is a 1.4 tip. So I'm going to be using this gun primarily for my primer. I'm using a 2K high build urethane primer, and with that you want to use a 1.8 tip minimum to spray primer, guys. You can do it with a 1.4, like I said. I've been using this one here forever, spraying primer, but a 1.8 will give you a better flow of paint. It'll come out of the gun nicer. It won't land on the car dry. You won't have to thin it down either. This 1.4 tip is great for base coats, clear coats, and kind of all the finish coats. So I'll keep that one for that. This one here will be my primer gun. I got two air regulators on both the guns, probably be running about 20 to 30 PSI in that range. Probably around 22 PSI is gonna be my happy number. And I got an air oil filter separator that's gonna go on here as well, because if you're using your compressor, the last thing you want is to get fish eyes in your paint job. If you have any contaminants, make sure to put a filter on there, have your regulator on there, and use a proper size tip. This, again, is gonna be the urethane that we're using. It's a ATX Automotive Refinishing Products, Sherwin-Williams. It was about $170 for a gallon of this with the hardener. So that's not a bad price. We got our mixing cups, we got our masks, some gloves, some mixing sticks. All right, guys, so I'm gonna start mixing up the high build primer, the 2K primer. It might be hard to see me, the lighting's a little off, but it is what it is. I'm basically gonna start mixing it up. This ratio is 5 to 1. Make sure to read your gallon or whatever you're using for your primer to see what the mixed ratio is. Pick up some mixing cups so you can have all the different 4 to 1, 2 to 1 ratios, whatnot. In this case, we're doing 5 to 1. So if you look here, for all you layman's out there, you can see 5, focus, there you go, 5 to 1 to 1. So basically we're gonna fill up 5 parts of the paint or the primer, and then up to the 5 mark on the hardener. So let's go ahead, start pouring in the primer, and then we'll add the hardener and stir it up real good. Probably do the old 2-cup method. I only got 1 mixing cup, so I'm gonna mix up a cup more in the Tim Hortons coffee cups here. So we're gonna pour it back and forth just to make sure that it's thoroughly mixed. All right, I can't stand the smell of this stuff, so I'm gonna be safe. I'm gonna put on my respirator, my mask, and I'm just gonna start pouring it 5 to 1, mix it up thoroughly, and I'm gonna make 2 cups. So that way when I start spraying, I don't have to come back and mix up a second one. I'll either mix up 2 or 3 cups, but you guys aren't gonna hear me. I'll just add some music to this. We'll mix up the paint, start spraying.
And just like that, you guys can see it's perfectly at the 5 mark right here, 5. So now we're gonna add our hardener up to this 5 to 1, 5 parts of our primer, and that second little line here will be our hardener mark. We are ready to start laying down some primer, guys. I got my paint all mixed up. I got 2 little cups already pre-mixed. So let's go ahead, dump it into the gun. We'll set our pressure, set our fan pattern, and start spraying. I'm just gonna set you guys up on the tripod, and I'm gonna get after it. I got 1 coat of primer onto the car. I'm going to shut the camera off and I'll touch base when I'm done doing the second coat and we'll have a tour of the car and see how it turned out. It's laying down really good right now. I'm running about 22 PSI. I want to get my camera out of here because it's getting some overspray on it, and it's an expensive camera. So let's keep going. I'll touch base in a bit. And just like that, guys, we got one full coat done on the entire car. Let's do a little walk around and check it out. So there it is. There's the first coat done. Sorry if you can't hear me that well, but I got my mask on and I'm keeping it on. It laid down really nice for the first coat. Really hard and tricky to get inside these scoop areas, but I managed to do it pretty good. There's a side profile view. The door is kicked open a little bit right now, so that's why it's just not lining up. And then the front end laid down real nice too. Nice and shiny, just the way you want it. Not too dry looking. The gun is brand new and I delved it in. It's working really well. Go figure. One mosquito right in the middle of the hood. I'll pick that out tomorrow and no big deal. The only problem was back here. It's really tight. The bags start blowing in when I got my fans kicked on. So I was kind of in a little tight spot and I got a little run right here. No big deal. This is high build primer, so I'll just sand that out. But when it comes to laying down my base coat, my color, I'm gonna have to be really careful of going nice and light and not get any runs. I might modify this and tape it back so I got more room in here for my gun. But yeah, pretty stoked with how it all turned out. Mirrors came out good. I managed to get underneath the mirrors, underneath the fenders. This area here was really tricky to spray in, so luckily I got my vent out on this side so I could get from the back side and spray that bottom groove. The roof came out super crispy. The engine cover, I'm going to be pulling the engine cover and this whole rear panel off when I go to paint the car. That way I can get right below here and I can get that back edge of the engine bay. It'll be a lot easier for me. Pretty stoked with how it's looking. Get a shot of the front end here. The headlights turned out real good. The lower scoop turned out real nice. I had to do a lot of body work in this area, but it came out looking really good. Starting to look like a different car now too.
There you have it, guys. We got the primer laid down on the KitCar project. We used a high build 2K primer. We've already got the color picked out for the car. We're gonna go ahead and do a base coat, clear coat, 2-stage paint, not a single stage. And so it's gonna involve a little bit more prep work. So the next stage is to block sand down the entire car. We're gonna put up our DIY makeshift spray booth, paint booth again, with fresh plastic because I don't want to get any overspray or contaminants from the old plastic sheets landing on the car. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to leave a like and definitely make sure to subscribe because in the next video I'm going to do a color reveal as well as we're getting ready to lay down the paint on this car, guys. So like, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time. Ciao, ciao.